Actually, no budget.
All right, he's going to sign here shortly, so go ahead and fire away, folks.
What's the off-season been like for you?
It's been pretty low-key. Just working out and taking care of my kids and hanging out with my wife and trying to make it as normal as possible.
Nothing different being a World Series champion versus other off-seasons?
Nope. It's shorter.
So is it true you and David have been playing squash?
That is true, yes. That's one of our conditioning activities.
So who usually wins?
I believe it's 4-2 in my favor, currently.
Matt, what does Carlos Beltran do in this lineup?
I think he gives us, more length as far as, I think, 1 through 8. We're going to have very tough outs. And, he's a great player. I think if he's able to play 140, somewhere in that range of games, he's going to hit close to 300. He's going to drive in close to 100. And he's proved over his career that he's a very, very good player. And so he adds another very good hitter to our lineup, which makes it more challenging for the opposing pitcher.
After what you dealt with at the end of the year, where are you at physically, and is there anything compromised as you start ramping up towards next season?
Nope, 100%.
Hey, Matt, when everybody went home after the parade, I think there was an assumption or belief that it was better than 50-50 that Albert was going to be back, and obviously it hasn't worked out that way. I don't know how much you've thought about it, but to what extent does that change anything from either makeup of the team or from a performance standpoint, or have you even given much thought to what changes here, if anything?
Well, I'm disappointed that he's not going to be here. He's a great player, and he's a good friend. So I'm disappointed he's not going to be here. But I think as players we understand that it was a possibility, and that knowing that it might happen, I think we all have to. We really have to step our games up, and try to fill that void. And there's no one person that we're asking to do that, but collectively I think we can do it, and I still think we have a great team and a great chance to go where we want to go, which is back to the playoffs and back to the World Series. So, like I said, I'm disappointed he's not coming back, but we've got to move on, and we've got lots of very good players and lots of good guys, and so I think we can do it.
Having gone through the process yourself, knowing how it can be a little different than you anticipated, perhaps, how would you describe your reaction when you found he wasn't going to be here? Were you surprised, or were you kind of prepared for something like that happening?
I think I was a little surprised, just because I thought it'd work out. I really did, but I also at the same time knew that it was a chance that something like that could happen. So, I support him. I think he's a great guy, but at the same time, we gotta do what we gotta do to get ready for this upcoming season.
Do your responsibilities, obviously on the field, you still do your job. Do your responsibilities in the clubhouse or anywhere change at all when a guy who's been the face of the franchise departs?
No, I don't think so. I try to be myself, no matter who's on the team. We've got lots of really good older players that are good at leading people and good leaders, and so I think our clubhouse will be fine. And my role is to go out there and play as hard as I can and do the best that I can, and offer advice where need be, and I'm going to be myself. That's all I can do.
How huge is it to get Adam back in the rotation?
Well, it's like adding a 20-game winner. He had 3 or 4 of the best seasons of any pitchers, and you put him back in the rotation. It's a huge boost.
In line with what maybe Matthew was referring to, there's so much focus and attention paid to Albert, justifiably, because he may have been the best player in the game. When a guy like that leaves, performance aside, there is kind of a void there in terms of the identity of the club. To what extent do you anticipate either demands or willingness to fill that kind of void?
I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I've played on teams that didn't have Albert before. I batted third before. Played in World Series before. I'm available for whatever is asked of me. I work for the St. Louis Cardinals, and if the job description changes and there's more asked of me, that's part of my job.
I think that's kind of where the question comes from. And you've kind of been the face of an organization before. I mean, does that inform how you go about going forward at all, or is that just not anywhere kind of in your consciousness?
Well, I don't, there's nothing tangible to change. I mean, like I said, if a situation or things call for a different scenario now, or I need to be a little stronger in the leadership category, or do more things for the team, or whatever. Like I said, I've done it before, and I can do it again.
Has anyone talked to you about stepping into that? Anyone from the club?
No. That's, like I said, that's usually something that happens. Spring training, where you figure out. I don't anticipate there being a huge change.
What about the change as far as manager, having Mike Matheny come in for Tony? What are you looking for playing under Mike? What does he bring?
Well, I mean, Mike's he's a great guy, great person. Obviously, none of us have ever played for him or know it, but in knowing the kind of person he is and watching him interact with his family and interact with you guys and the fans and just watching how he carries himself and how he played and how hard he played and the respect that his teammates had for him, his opponents had for him, I would expect great things. I think he's going to do a great job of leading us and stepping in and filling in for a Hall of Fame legend like Tony. He's got big shoes to fill, but he's a big man.
Now that it's over, what was it like playing under Tony?
It was great. I only had 2.5 years, but what you ask of a manager is preparation and doing what's best for the team at all times, and that's exactly what Tony did. You won't find anybody more prepared, and you won't find anybody that is more willing to do what he thinks is best for the team, no matter what the circumstance or what the opinion or the book may say. He was willing to do it if he thought it was best for us. So it was a great experience for me, and someday I wanted to get into coaching or managing. All of this will be playing under him will serve me well.
Do you anticipate Matheny being drastically different than how Tony approached it?
It's hard to say. That'd be a guess. I wouldn't anticipate it to be too drastic. He played under Tony and learned a lot from Tony. And, he's been with the Cardinals and watched how we've gone about things. So I wouldn't anticipate anything drastic, but I'm sure there'll be some things that are different.
Matt, has anybody spoken to you about third versus fourth, or is that just?
I haven't.
Yeah. Matt, when you kind of talk about
where's your camera, Darren? I don't make the cut.
No, that's I could. I didn't get primo location. Didn't get pole position.
What happened?
Couldn't box out. Yeah. When there's enough camera. When you talk about the clubhouse dynamics that Joe was mentioning, and then the new manager, how much do you think spring training is going to be a little bit of a feeling out process, both with how the day-to-day workouts might go, but how the team might kind of come together?
Yeah, it could be a little different. We got a lot of guys that have been together for a while now. You got guys like Harp and Wayno and Skip, and, all the guys that have been here for a while. There's Yachty. There's kind of a way that, I think will be very similar to the way it has been. And I also think that I haven't talked to Mike about his plan for spring training. I don't know if there'll be huge changes to how it'll be ran or what we'll be doing, or if there'll be different stuff. But I would guess it'll be similar to what we've been doing. So I don't think it'll be a huge change.
You've always, it seems like you've always been a guy who's led more by example than rah-rah or speaking or anything like that. Was that different in Colorado when you were that guy, or is it, regardless of all these changes?
I think that's a lot of that's perception. You guys know that, but I interact with my teammates a little bit differently than maybe some of you guys think. So I might do it a little different, but I'm not a loud yeller, but I'm not afraid to talk to young guys or other players about certain things. So like I said, a lot of that's perception.
It's an accurate perception, though, isn't it? That last year the mix y'all had was very good. I mean, it seemed like that was an asset that perhaps helped y'all get past some difficult situations.
Oh, I have no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna miss guys like Nick Pinto and Ryan Terrio and you know, Gerald Laird and some of the guys that aren't going to be there. But you know, it's our job to forge that bond again. I mean, it's never going to be the same. You're never going to have the same team that you had last year as much as you'd want to. You know, it's a profession where there's lots of turnover. So, you know, we got new guys coming in and guys leaving, and there's a good core of guys that were experienced here last year. And so that's our job to again form that bond that will help us through rough times and continue to make the game fun. And coming to the clubhouse every day is still enjoyable, and even in August when you're 10 out. I mean, that'll be our job as members of the team to make sure that's how it happens.
It seemed like last year what y'all had, not criticizing any other year, but it seemed like you mentioned having fun when you come to the clubhouse. It seemed like that was a lot more obvious last year than maybe the year before or whatever.
Yeah, and you're not going to get that every single year. I mean, there's, you know, I've you know, it's going into my 9th year, and you're not going to be that lucky every year. But we have a good group to start out with this year, and so I think it's very attainable for us to have that kind of chemistry and that kind of bond again.
Matt, after all the unusual injuries you had last season, you think you're due for some good luck in that department this year?
Well, I've had a very healthy career for the most part, so I'm not going to complain. You know, I still got quite a few games in last year, and I'm not owed or deserved anything. So, you know, I train and do the best that I can to stay healthy, and you know, there's certain things you can try as hard as you want to, but they're unavoidable, and occasionally stuff happens. So, I'm excited about this year. I feel like I'm in where I want to be as far as my conditioning and get ready for the season, and you know, you just go out and do the best you can. Matt, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.